Namaste and a very good morning to all of you. I welcome you to my channel, The Outlier. My name is Mithun. In today's video, I'll be talking about independent samples t-test. Even before I proceed to demonstrate how to perform independent samples t-test using Microsoft Excel, may I request you to subscribe to my channel and like and share my videos. Firstly, what exactly do we mean by independent samples t-test? Now, in the case of independent samples t-test, we are interested in comparing the average for two groups. As you can see in the data set, I've got three columns. The first column is employee ID. The second column talks about the gender of the employee. And the third column talks about the salary of the employee. The first record represents a male employee who is getting paid 57,000 rupees. The second employee represents again a male employee who is getting paid 40,200 rupees. The third record is of a female employee who is getting paid 21,450 rupees. What is the sample size in this data set? If I scroll to the last record, you can see here I have 474 employees, which means that the sample size in this data set is 474. Now, if you're familiar with SPSS or any other softwares, this data set and the format of this data set is good enough for you to go ahead and perform independent samples t-test. There is a catch here. When you are using Microsoft Excel to perform independent samples t-test, this format is not appropriate to perform independent samples t-test. Microsoft Excel does not understand the data if the data is in this particular format. What is wrong with this particular format? If you can see here, we have got one variable for salary, and both the male salary as well as the female salary is recorded in this particular column itself. Microsoft Excel finds it very difficult to process a data set which is in this particular format. Then how should the ideal format be? To show you how you need to arrange the data before you can go ahead and execute the independent samples t-test in Microsoft Excel, let me open up sheet 1. If you can see here, this is how the data should be arranged in Excel so that you can go ahead and perform the independent samples t-test. The first column represents female salary. So the first employee, who's a woman, gets paid 21,450. The second female employee gets paid 21,900, so on and so forth. If you look at the male salary, we have made a separate column wherein we are recording the male salary. So what we have is that we have two separate columns, one for the first group of employees, namely females, and the second for the second group of employees, namely the males. What we are interested in is comparing the average salary for females and males. How do we do this? To perform the independent samples t-test, please click on the data menu. At the extreme right side, you have what is called as the data analysis tool pack. Let me click on data analysis tool pack. Here you can see three different types of t-test. The first is paired two samples for means. The second is two sample assuming equal variances. And the third is two sample assuming unequal variances. I will choose the third type of t-test, namely t-test assuming unequal variances. I have to click on the OK button. Let me remove some of the earlier options that I had specified. I can delete this. Now, this is how the independent samples t-test assuming unequal variances window would appear when you open this for the first time. As you can see here, we have to specify the range for the first variable. How do we specify the range? Simply select the female salary, Control Shift bottom arrow. This would select the entire column. Secondly, you have to specify the input range for variable 2. To select the input range for variable 2, let me select male salary, Control Shift bottom arrow. This would select the entire range for variable 2. These are the two basic input that you have to supply to Excel. The third information that you need to specify here is the hypothesized mean difference, which I'm assuming as 0. Does the variable have column heading? If yes, you can choose the option labels. And lastly, what you have is the alpha value of 0.05. Conventionally, there are 3 different values that you can choose. Either you can choose an alpha value of 10% or 5% or 1%. I will go with the default value of 5%. So this is how simple it is in Microsoft Excel to perform independent samples t-test. All that you need to do is specify the variable range for the first variable. Secondly, you can specify the range for the second variable. Then you can specify the hypothesized mean difference. If you have column headings, please tick this option labels. Make sure that you specify the desired alpha level. Once you choose these 5 options, you're good to go. All that I need to do is click on the option OK, and in a few seconds, Excel runs independent samples t-test and gives me the output. You can see here, there are a lot of information that Excel prints. We don't need to look at each and every value. What is really striking in this entire table would be the very first row, which speaks about the mean salary for women and mean salary for males. On an average, the female salary is $26,031 and the male salary is $41,441. So clearly, the male employees are getting paid higher as compared to the female employees. When you compare the variance for the females and the males, you can clearly see that there is a difference in the variance for the 2 groups. What is the sample size for females? We have considered 216 female employees, and then we have considered 258 male employees. If you recall, the hypothesis mean difference is 0. Along with this, we also get the degrees of freedom, which is 344. What Excel does is it reports the t statistic value, the p value for one-tailed test, the t critical value for one-tailed test. Excel also reports the p value for two-tailed test and the t critical value for two-tailed test. Now, what I'm interested in would be the p value for a two-tailed test. And as you can see here, the p value is 8.35 into 10 to the power of minus 27. Now, 8.35 into 10 to the power of minus 27 is a very, very tiny value. Clearly, this value is less than 0.05. Since this value is less than 0.05, I can go ahead and reject my null hypothesis and conclude that there is a big difference. There is a significant difference in the salary for the female employees as compared to the male employees. So there's a significant difference in the salary for the 2 groups. This is our conclusion when we look at the p-value. With this, I have come to the end of today's video. I hope that you have found this video useful. May I request you to like this particular video, subscribe to my channel, like and share these videos with your friends and family members. Thank you very much for watching this video. Have a good day.